This is Keve. I'm Kerry.
Tonight we're interviewing.
Stop
Oh.
laughing. I'm Steve, and this is Jerry. I'm Kerry, and this is Keve.
Tonight we're interviewing another couple of musicians.
Rob and Victoria Paterson are good friends,
We'll hear about how they started the American Modern Ensemble.
and the Mostly Modern Summer Music Festival, at which you are a faculty member.
Can't wait to return. Let's say hello.
No crazy ghost, no monster plan. Go my own way, I'm my own man.
Cool.
Hi, Rob. Hi, Victoria.
Hey,
Great to see you
so
guys.
happy to be here. Good to see you too.
The two of you guys have a really special relationship because you are married, but you've created ensembles and organizations together as a
Right.
married couple. So I want to go back in history and talk a little bit about the beginnings of American Modern Ensemble and how that got created and started.
Okay, we'll go back 15 years because we just hit our 15th year. I think we're going to move into our 16th year, and we had just moved to New York City. American Modern started so simply, where Robert and I just rented the Greenwich Music House down in the village. We did a violin piano concert of American music, and what Rob's violin sonata was on there, and there was like William Bolcom and a variety of composers, Aaron
Mhm.
Furness.
Mhm.
That's how simple it started, and it was my treat to myself, Keve, because I had been on the Beauty and the Beast tour, and I was on the road, and I
This
said,
is why we're married, because new music is a
I know,
treat.
it was like, wait,
It's a treat for her. Like, that's awesome. That's who you want to marry if you're a composer.
everything in our lives has been very organic. It's just like, okay, let's put on a
Well, it's
show.
basically just like, it's like solving like a problem with a solution. Like, well, she wants to play more. I want to hear my music played by great musicians, the ones that we know and our friends. So like a lot of other people that start groups like in New York and everywhere else, we're like, well, let's just start our own group because we want to do what we want to do, right? But
So
of course,
it started that simply,
yeah.
and then it seemed to go well, and then you have to get the nonprofit status. You have to get a 501c3. At that time, it took 3 years. You have to get a lawyer.
you have to wait a few years for them to make sure that you're real, because they won't give you grant money in the first like 2 or 3 years,
Right.
Right.
which is ironic, right? Because that's exactly when you need it.
How did you find a lot of your musicians right up front? I know, of course, it's a lot of your friends, but how do you find that pianist that can sit down and play this hard music like Blair or Steven?
Yeah,
Well,
you found Blair.
Well, I found Blair. By the way,
Blair found you.
Blair was the one guy, and I love Blair. Okay, but it was an accident. And he found me online because I wrote a sextet for a Pierrot ensemble, and he emailed me. He said, "Hey, I found this piece, and I want to do it with the Capo Chamber Players, another group that he was in." That's how I met him. I had never met him before, and I was super excited because I knew how good he was. I knew his name. I was like, "Wow, that's really cool that he found me randomly." So
Yeah.
that just goes to show, hey, composers, put your stuff out there and like make it accessible with a recording and the title, everything you need, because somebody out there will find it someday. Just make it easy to find.
It's still really
Yeah.
important to reach out to people who you don't know. I do that all the time. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, totally.
we do that all the time. But
Yeah.
I know that you guys had sort of a dream to have a summer music festival for a few years.
Hmm.
What was your initial dream? What did it look like, that summer festival? And then how did that transfer into what you ended up doing? Was Mostly Modern at Skidmore? Sort of how did it start?
Oh, we wanted to do something in the summer. So it starts out simply with a basic concept. We want to do a festival. I had been teaching at a couple of festivals. And again, as usual, it was this situation where we had both taught at various places. And I liked them, and the directors were fine. They were great. But I was like, I want to do my own thing. I want to do it the way I think it should be done. And with Victoria, I said, we want to do it our way, meaning we had certain beliefs and certain things we wanted to make sure happened, right? Like having an orchestra, focusing on new music, not doing padding it with tons of old music. We didn't want to do that. And so, and there wasn't a new music, wasn't a summer festival that had, there's some around the world, right? But not a lot that have orchestras. So we wanted to make sure we included an orchestra and had a lot of composers, like 30 composers every summer, right? So we did all that. And just basically the second main thing we had to think about was, well, where are we going to do it? Because clearly you need the right facilities, right? And that's a huge amount of research, because you're like, you need food, you need housing, You need
The hall.
the
The
hall.
hall is stunning.
Right. You don't want to be too far away from New York, but you want to be close enough. You know, we wanted the right place where people felt like they were going to really commingle and commiserate and be together.
The good thing about not doing, you were saying that it's too expensive to do it in New York, but the thing about in the summer in New York, nobody wants to go to concerts inside in New York.
Right. Yeah.
So,
That's
I mean, it's
true.
way better to do it up at Skidmore and Saratoga. It's
Oh, yeah.
beautiful up there.
Well, and it's a beautiful town. There's tons of more restaurants and bars and nightclubs than you'd imagine in a city like that. And the people are so nice. And if there's like lakes and rivers and all, it's just a beautiful area.
It has a history
Yeah.
of supporting the arts, which I hope we can continue with that. So they have the Philadelphia Orchestra, the New York City Ballet. So for us to walk in and say we want to do a classical music festival, yes, it's modern, but it's not. They don't look at us like, what are you talking about? They understand classical music, and they don't look at us like we're zombies. They're just like, oh, great, more music. We love music. We love ballet. We love the arts. And so we felt so welcome, you know, and they're just so enthusiastic. And I can't wait to grow our audience and get to know the town better and better.
Another great thing about your festival is that it is open to composers. There are quite a few festivals that I went to as a youngster, you know, an instrumentalist, orchestra, music festival in the summer. And maybe there's like a fellowship for 2 or 3 composers to come and study. So the fact that you have this music festival where a major focus is inviting and auditioning.
Well, yeah, it's a new music-centric festival, and it's a composer-centric festival, right? So composers feel welcome because the performers want to be there to play their music, and they want to be there to play music by living composers.
What I also love about our festival, and this just kind of happened naturally, we said 18 and older, which is great for performers and composers. And performers, I think it landed around at people in their 20s. That's what I think. Although we had like a French horn player in his 40s, and we had, you know, but the fun thing about composers, which I liked, there were 30 composers, and there were people that were 18 and 19, and there was literally people 83, 73, 43. I just loved it. Like professional composers, Hollywood composers, people that are maybe not doing it as a full-time career, students that are going to Princeton University, like they're all together for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's really important to be surrounded by musicians of all ages, composers of all ages, conductors of all ages. So there's that mutual respect in the room, and everyone is there for the greater good.
Absolutely.
2020 was going to be the second year of the festival, right? That got canceled. Third year. Okay. So what do you see for, like, what is your grand goal for like the 10th year, let's say?
I think the goal would be, let's see, by year 10, first of all, the audience is packed every night, every single seat. That's clearly going to happen. So that's one goal. Okay. So, and by the way, look, here's the thing. The dream would be to make it free for everybody. Right? To make it free for all the participants. To get
Tanglewood's like that.
to make it like that. And also to have the faculty paid, obviously, way more. And there should be an endowment so it's paid for in perpetuity for like the next 30, 50 years. Okay? I mean, these are big dreams, right? But you can dream, right?
It's a special music festival because it's a short 3-week festival. At the beginning of the summer, where it doesn't interrupt into other festivals that have been around for 70, 80 years. You guys record all your concerts professionally, and so the composers and the musicians get a high quality professional level recording of their work after the festival.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And that was a goal from day one. We knew
beautiful video, beautiful audio.
Yeah, and we're going to keep, it's going to keep
getting, only going to get better,
it's gonna
right?
Get better,
because now it's just that's what we all demand. And although many festivals actually don't have it at the level that we have it. So it's so important as a composer or a performer to have that video that you can put up on your site and share on social media. So that's almost the price of tuition right there.
So Victoria, your hiring of some AME members during this pandemic has been one of the only jobs I've done, is a few that you have hired me for. And I want to know a little bit about how that came to be with when we did Rob's opera. Can we talk a little bit about the Domena concert that we did during this pandemic?
Work during a pandemic.
So we did the concert of In Real Life.
It's all about online dating. And so we wanted to do it. And the problem was that because it was called In Real Life, we got in trouble because they're, no, you can't have an in real life concert because it's COVID. So they got mad at us at the space. You know, we're like, no, that's the title. it felt like who's on first or like, you know,
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, who is on first? I'm asking you who's on first. That's the man's name. That's whose name? Yes. Well, go ahead and tell me. Who? The guy on first. Who? The first base. Who is on first?
Like, no, it's not in real life, but it is in real life. No,
that went
the
back
title
and
is
forth.
in
They
real
were
life.
so confused.
Yeah, so, but anyway, the whole thing's about dating online, and there's a duet called Extraordinary about the first date in the age of COVID in like Central Park, you know.
And then we also did a string orchestra project outside in October when it was still warm enough.
Let's start wrapping up. I want to talk a little bit about what's keeping you motivated through COVID. Rob, are you writing a lot? I mean, this kind of like self-inflicted isolation is good for
I
composers.
know. 2 days from now, when I go to Saratoga, I'm going to hole up and start work. I've got I'm writing a cello concerto for Dave Egar, actually, that he commissioned,
Cool.
and or is commissioning.
That we would be doing this summer.
Right,
let's
it would-
hope.
yeah, I
We
know,
will
yeah,
be doing
yeah.
this summer with
I
Joanne
hope so.
Coletta.
I'm writing a piece, a wind ensemble piece for the Eastman Wind Ensemble and a consortium of 7 other wind ensembles for their anniversary.
Great.
So that's cool. Yeah, for Mark Scatterday. So that's awesome.
Well, it's funny, you know, I think Keve's implication was that that a composer can work in solitude better than a musician that plays in groups or whatever. But I mean, you need to be inspired as well.
But I really, my favorite part is working with Keve, you and other musicians and working together. That's what you live for. As a composer, you live, at least I do. I live for that part of it because it feels the most warm, you know. I like the collaborative process is what I'm saying.
Listen, we love your entrepreneurship. We love your support of your fellow musicians and colleagues.
Thank you for doing this, by the way, guys. It's awesome.
Rob and Victoria, it's so great to see you guys. We will see you very soon.
So great.
You guys are
Cheers
awesome.
to the Biden administration.
Cheers. Cheers. Be
Cheers.
well.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.